y'all, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing something that's very highly requested. It is my apartment tips for looking in New York City. The process of apartment hunting is more stressful than actually like moving across the country, or leaving my entire family behind. It was so stressful. Just to say the least, I cried like a billion times, not because I was like, oh my god, I'm leaving my whole family, I'm leaving everything I've ever known. Literally I just cried because I was so stressed out. But yeah, I did a poll on my Instagram asking y'all what y'all wanted to see. So if y'all aren't following me on my Instagram, go ahead and follow me there, because I actually ask, I think once a week kind of, what do y'all want to see, what kind of sit down video do y'all want to see, and I'm definitely going to be doing that more and more until I can kind of get a hang of things, because I'm trying to, get in my zone here, and so it's easier just to vlog rather than do a sit down video. So I'm trying to see what y'all want to see more of, and I've gained a lot of subscribers and a lot of new followers on Instagram, so I kind of want y'all to all mesh, and I want to be able to give y'all what y'all want, so to speak. So I did a poll, and 73% wanted apartment tips, so that was a big one. And I actually had someone comment on my last video, I think it was my last video, said that they wanted apartment tips as well, so here I am saying I'm going to do that. And then I asked y'all if y'all want 2 sit-down videos this week or 1 sit-down, 1 vlog, because I want to see if y'all are all liking the vlogs. So let me know in here, do y'all like the vlogs? I'm sorry if y'all are hearing honking, it's New York City, you're probably going to hear that throughout this video a lot. But yeah, I just want to know, are y'all enjoying the vlogs, the week in my lives, day in my life? Do y'all want that? Because if so, then I will, keep doing a week in my life every week and kind of doing daily vlogging in a way. So just let me know, so that I'm not doing it just to do it. I want to make sure that y'all are actually enjoying those videos. So yeah, I kind of just wrote down a few little tips and for apartment hunting, and I'm just going to get into it. And if y'all have any questions specifically, feel free to direct message me. I check my DMs every day, and I check them every morning, and try to get back to as many of y'all as I can. It gets kind of hard because then there is some spam that comes in through there, and then there's brands, and so trying to get through that is hard. But I definitely when people have questions for me, or are where'd you get this top from, or have a question about where I'm going to school or anything like that, I definitely want to answer y'all, because I know that it's a genuine question. If I was in y'all's position, I'd want the answer. So just direct message me through Instagram, and I always check to make sure give you all the answers y'all need, or you can comment down below. I always check my my YouTube comments throughout the week, so if I don't get back to y'all the day it goes up, or if y'all have a comment, or if y'all watch this video and this video's been up for a week, then still just leave a comment, and I always check. This has been the longest intro ever, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the video. So yeah, if y'all want to see my New York City apartment hunting tips, then just keep on watching. I started saving, let's see, I was 100% knew I was coming January, and I moved June, so I've been saving for the past 6 months-ish, and I also sold my car, and I saved up a lot of money. I'm not gonna disclose how much money I saved up, but I pretty much spent all of it on my apartment pretty much, because my landlord needed 4 months up front of rent. So it took a lot of my money that I'd saved, but that helped because I had saved so much money. So I would start saving if you know you're gonna move here, if you're a senior in high school, or you're going into your senior year, get a job, get a side job, don't let it take away from your studies, obviously, but even if you're a transfer and you're transferring in next year, and you still have a whole year left to go, then you have a year. So start saving, take half your paycheck, or take 25% of your paycheck and start saving that aside, and I promise you'll have so much money saved up. But I wouldn't give yourself a specific amount. Now, unless you aren't having any financial help, then then that's a totally different story. I personally don't know how much you need, because I'm not like a financial advisor, how much you would need if you're just doing this all by yourself. But if you're doing this all by yourself, I totally recommend getting a roommate. I mean, there are so many places you can find roommates, so definitely wherever you're going to school, usually the Facebook groups, go there, try and find a roommate, just find just cheaper options. But yeah, if your parents are helping you or you have a bunch of money saved up, then that's great. But just have as much money saved up. Don't give yourself don't say I need to save up $10,000. Start with saying I need to save up $3,000 to $5,000, so that if you exceed that goal, that's like awesome. But like if you don't save up maybe $5,000, then don't sweat it. It's gonna be okay, because you'll get a job when you get here. But just so that you have some money saved up, so that you don't have to like worry about money, because money is a huge stressor. Okay, so going into this, another tip is don't start looking so far in advance, like at apartments. Start looking at areas. If you can come out 6 months before you're gonna move, then that's great, or even a year or whatever. If you can just come out whenever, and just look at areas and kind of explore the city. I had never looked at the Upper West Side. I had never been to the Upper West Side because it's not really a big tourist area. Like Midtown is, Greenwich, Soho, all those kinds of places are very big tourist locations. But Upper West Side had never come up here for, sorry if the lighting's changing, because it's very cloudy today, so it's like sunny one second, cloudy the next second. Okay, so anyways, but whenever I'd come up to the Upper West Side, I went to the Upper West Side and Upper East Side, and that's where I was looking at apartments. And whenever I went to the Upper West Side, I fell in love with it. I think it's a perfect mix. For me personally, a lot of people love the East Side. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the Upper West Side goes with my personality perfectly, and I love it here. So just spend time exploring different areas, and also know that you are living 100% constantly in the hustle and bustle of New York City. And whenever you walk out of your apartment, if you're living in Midtown or if you're living in Soho, as soon as you walk out, it is like instant hustle bustle. And if that's your lifestyle and you can do that, then go ahead. But coming from Texas, it's a very slow paced lifestyle, so I wanted the Upper West Side so that whenever I walk in my apartment, it's kind of like still relaxed until I get to like the main streets, and even until I get down into like Midtown area or into like Lincoln Center area of the Upper West Side. So definitely kind of just figure out what your lifestyle is, and start looking at the areas that you want to live in, and then find your top three areas that you want to live in, and try and do 3. Some people are probably going to think, oh, well, I want to live here, 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 all over. And that's how I was at first, until I really came and like looked at it from like a local's point of view. I was like, no, I love this area to like come and like hang out in and like do stuff in, but to live in, it's a totally different thing. So kind of think of it in that way. So I really didn't have a top 3. It was like Upper West Side was all the way up here, and then my other choices were way at the bottom. But it was Upper West Side, Upper East Side, and West Village. Oh my gosh, people just stop honking, I swear. And so it was Upper West Side, Upper East Side, and West Village. And I looked at apartments. Actually, I didn't look at any apartments on the Upper East Side, but I'll get to that. I had some ready to go look at, but I didn't. I looked at West Village and Upper West Side and just was so in love with the Upper West Side. So tip number 3, I think it's tip number 3, start looking at how much you're going to get for size, amenity, location, all that kind of stuff. Start looking at how much you're going to have to pay, all that kind of stuff. So for the Upper West Side, for example, I knew I wanted a bigger space and I didn't need that many amenities, so I live in an apartment, live in a walk-up, and I don't have laundry in unit or in building, which really sucks. I don't have a dishwasher, and I don't have a doorman. To have those things on the Upper West Side in 550 square feet is ridiculously expensive, and it's just, I would just could never afford it, at least at this point in my life. So to me, size was the biggest thing. I didn't need a doorman, and I didn't need laundry and all that kind of stuff, but some people do, and if you need that, if you like in your mind, if you're like, no, I need this, then get it, because you know you're gonna regret it if you really want those things. Like a doorman, if that's something that, you know, just will make you feel at ease and make you feel better, totally get a doorman and make that a top priority. For me, my top priority was just windows and light, and I know that might sound weird, but I love a lot of light and I love being bright and happy and cheerful, and so I got 3 huge windows in my apartment, which makes my apartment so bright at all times, and I love it. And my fan and my main light in my living room is so weird, so I never turn that on, but I don't even need to because of the light. So kind of find your priorities and start looking at how much you're going to get for what you want. And that kind of goes into the next tip, which is find a broker. I made this mistake, and this is my biggest thing, that I watched so many videos and I looked at so many blog posts and just talked to so many people, and for some reason no one ever told me. But getting a broker is crucial, and some people probably will say, no, I found mine without finding a broker. Having a broker makes it so much easier, because especially I lived in Texas, so I couldn't just, you know, come here, look at apartments, fly back, come here, look at apartments, fly back. I had only a certain amount of time I could be here for to look at apartments. There's an ambulance. Hold on. Okay, sorry. There was an ambulance. But yeah, so no one told me that a broker was very necessary. In my mind, the reason I need a broker, because I was like, oh, I want to avoid broker's fees, because someone had told me that if you don't have a broker, you don't have to pay a broker's fee. That is so not true, because even if you personally don't have a broker, now it's different. If you're going into like a co-op or a building that has like a doorman, you know, those kinds of like condos, types of buildings, you don't need a broker. Just contact their leasing office if you're going to go that way. Now, if you're going to go away, you want like a brownstone or like a walk-up like mine, the landlord that owns the apartment little building will have a broker on the apartment. And even if you personally don't have a broker, whenever you rent this apartment, you still have to pay a broker fee to that broker that you didn't hire, like the landlord's broker, if that makes sense. So to me, you have to pay the broker's fee, even if you have one or not. So you might as well just pay a little bit extra and go ahead and just get yourself your own broker. And pretty much what a broker does here in New York is you tell them the areas you want to live in, your price range, what you want, and they go look. They go do everything that pretty much I did to find this apartment. They go out and they look and they do everything they need. They do everything, and whenever you come here, they have their list of the apartments and they already have the appointments up, and you just go look at them and you pick the one that you like, and it's a lot easier. So I totally recommend doing that, especially if you're moving from out of state. Now, maybe if you already live here, I don't know, whenever I eventually move out of this apartment, I don't know when I will, because I really like this apartment, but whenever I do move out of this apartment, I don't know if I'll get a broker, because I'll already be in the city, so I can go look at all these different apartments, you know, and like not have to stress about finding an apartment on a certain time, because my big thing was I wanted to see the apartment in person before I agreed to it. So moral of the story is find a broker. Just trust me on that. If you are coming from out of state, even if you are living, you know, in New York City or close to New York City, I still recommend getting a broker. It'll just save you a lot of time. It won't save you money, but it'll save you a lot of time and a lot of energy, and you have to pay a broker's fee anyways, so might as well just have it benefit you at the same time. So next tip is to plan. If you are flying out here like I did, plan to come out 3 weeks before. So my moving date was June 1st, and I came out the second week. Yeah, like the very beginning of the second week of May, and had was going to find an apartment that week, and then I would have 3 weeks to get packed up and moved here. So a lot of apartments here you'll see are immediate move-ins, and that makes it kind of hard if you're moving from out of state, like how I moved in a truck and I needed to like move all my stuff here. It makes it kind of hard because you want to have a specific date. You don't want to just have an immediate move-in where they need you next week. If you can do that, then go whenever you please, because like if your move-in date is very flexible, like you don't really have a specific time you need to be there. For me, I didn't want to rush it, and I didn't want to wait 3 months and like go, oh, I'll move in July 1st. I wanted to move in June 1st, and I needed to, and so 3 weeks out to 2 weeks out is pretty much the best time because a lot of the move-in dates are immediate. But they're flexible. If you're like, oh, I want to move in June 1st, how I did, but I'm 2 to 3 weeks out, then they'll be flexible and let you move in June 1st instead of making you move in the next week. Okay, so this next tip is just as big as the finding the broker. It is go look at tons of apartments. So if your broker shows you apartments and or if you don't use a broker and you find yourself an apartment and you fall in love with one, don't just go, okay, that's the one I want and that's the one I'm gonna get. Whatever, I'm done. I made that mistake. I didn't realize how cutthroat it was. I mean, I did my research, but I really didn't know until I was here. I thought it was going to fall into place and it was all going to be great because that's how it seemed at first. So the broker on this apartment kind of made it seem like we had it. It was all good, and she thought we did too because, I mean, it wasn't her fault. But it was so back and forth, and you have to realize that, you know, just because you're in love with the apartment doesn't mean you're going to get it. Doesn't mean you're going to get accepted on it. If you have a guarantor, if you're making enough, if your guarantor's making enough, even if you think you are, they may go, oh, well, I want your guarantor to make 100 times the rent rather than 80 times. Or they may make you, how I did have to pay 4 months up front. So keep looking at apartments just because you want to have a plan B and you want to have a plan C. So this was my number 1 apartment, and I didn't have backup. After I looked at this apartment, I was like, okay, we're going to get this one, no worries. And so we didn't look at any more until all of a sudden we thought I wasn't going to get this one. It was super back and forth. And that's my biggest thing, is to have, just because you fall in love with one apartment, go look at more and have your plan B, have your plan C, put in the applications, and just on a few, you know, just go look, and don't just think because you love the apartment that it's all going to work out, because luckily it did for me, but sometimes it really doesn't. So another tip is whenever you are actually apartment hunting, I looked at an apartment on the Upper West Side, and I wasn't in love with it like I was with this one, but whenever we contacted the people to say, oh, can we put in an application on it, because this one was kind of up in the air, someone had actually taken it, like already put in the application and got accepted in the same day that we had gone. Like, we were the first ones to go look at it. Someone came, like, I guess after us and put an application and got accepted within a few hours. And we were like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? So make sure with that, make sure that you have, you know, money ready. Make sure you have your checkbook ready. Make sure that you have all your papers. I have a document that that I found online that says all the things you need whenever you're going to look at apartments, especially for being out of state. And I will put a picture of that on the screen somewhere over here. And go and look at that kind of stuff. You know, look up the documents that you need and make sure that you have them, because if you don't have one thing that they want, then you could not get the apartment that you are in love with. So make sure you have all your documents, and make sure you have your checkbook, and make sure that you have your money and all your financials and everything together and situated. Just, that is a big one, because if you don't have that, then you will not get the apartment. Okay, now that I hopefully didn't scare y'all out of getting an apartment in New York with all of the, you know, intense things to remember, once you get your apartment and once you get accepted, before you leave the city or before anything like that, make sure that you get your actual measurements. Some of them will have like the little blueprints that have the measurements. I would double check just because someone could always be wrong. So get your measurements of all your walls if you're going to decorate virtually, like how we did, like back home. But if you're going to decorate and get all your stuff whenever you get to New York, then don't even worry about it. And just another little tip is, or not like necessarily like a tip, but just like a need to know sort of thing. If you are getting the apartment without a guarantor, you need to make 40 times the annual rent. And if you are getting an apartment with a guarantor, they need to make 80 to 100 times. Typically it's 80, so don't stress about that, but 80 to 100 times they need to make for the annual rent as well. Okay, so at this point you have come to the city, you got your broker, you found your apartment, you got accepted, and now you can celebrate and you can take a load off and you are just so ready to move. I suggest whenever you get to the city, if you are using kind of how I did if you moved with a truck, you use TaskRabbit. They are very helpful moving company if you're moving from out of state. They're not a moving company, I shouldn't say that. It is a, well, they're just people that do tasks, anything that you want. I hired 2 guys and they helped us move everything in, which was super helpful. They did an amazing job and it was a lot cheaper than hiring anyone else, like any actual moving company in the city. So I totally recommend doing TaskRabbit if you are moving. So hopefully then you have moved in, you've got your apartment, you're all situated, you can decorate it, and you're good to go. I feel like I'm leaving out something super important, but I really can't remember what it is. But if you all have any specific tips, remember, feel free to reach out to me. I am more than happy to help anyone because it is a stressful process, and if I can take any of that stress and relieve that from any of y'all, then I would be so happy to do that because it is a stressful process to move here and to get the apartment that you want. So hopefully all of this helped, and yeah, don't forget to let me know what kind of sit down videos y'all want to see. Do y'all want to see fashion related? Do y'all want to see a haul? Do you want to see a style one piece 3 ways video? Are y'all liking the vlogs? What are y'all liking? What do y'all want to see? Let me know. And yeah, I will see y'all in our next video. Bye.
Freezing outside, a little bit high on the feeling.